It doesn't suit him at all. But, whatever. I have been appointed as commander of this new resistance base. I've heard a lot about you. Please lend us your support to us. Let's fight together and destroy New Arcadia. And he's extending a nice handshake. But Zero completely blows him off. Again, note that Zero has a different icon this time around. A little bit smoother, and it kind of looks a bit more like him. Destroy New Arcadia, huh? It's not that easy. And he withdraws his handshake. Then what are you going to do? I don't know. Ha 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 ha. You are a funny Reploid. Anyway, nice to meet you, Mr. Legend. So, are you going to help us destroy Neo Arcadia? Nah, it's not that easy. So, what are you going to do then? I don't know. Yeah. Zero is not known for thinking stuff out. Nice little bit of voice acting there on CL. You probably didn't hear it, but it was there. Zero, are you okay? Uh-huh. A man of few words. That's good. I was so worried about you. We have been trying so hard to find you. I'm glad you found us. Did you look in that, like, huge fucking pile of debris left by that thing I blew up in the first game? Because that's where I was the whole time. Dicks. I found you. I came here before I lost consciousness? No, obviously he didn't. Do you remember what I'm working on? I'm conducting research that will help develop a subsequent energy for energy crystals. It's a great invention that will drastically change the world. And here's where we start to get into the actual larger plot of things to some degree, and they sort of explain some stuff. She's going to start explaining it here in a second. Change the world? As you recall in the first game, she was working on energy research, and energy crystals was a huge part of that. So here's what we're getting into here. Neo Arcadia began its iron-fisted policy because of the energy shortage. In order to protect the human society, Reploids were discriminated against, labeled inferior citizens, and were sent to the concentration camps for retirement. History shows that an energy shortage in an era usually triggers a large-scale conflict. By the way, notice the object behind her. That's a cyber elf, and it is important. Yes, it is, very much so. Once substitute energy has been developed, the destructive conflict ends. So, the backstory here. The reason that X killed a shitload of Reploids was because they had a serious shortage of energy. Energy that is needed to maintain society, so since they have all these machines running around that are using up a shitload of energy, they start killing off a fuckload of them, even though they're pretty much sentient beings, and basically decreasing the energy usage so that human society can continue moving forward, even though they're killing off like a lot of robots and all that stuff. So that's the whole idea there. And she's trying to come up with a new way to use energy crystals to develop an alternate energy system. This is sort of like if oil were to suddenly run out and people were to get rid of cars, except the cars were smart and able to talk. And somebody then started looking into, I don't know, using water as fuel or something ridiculous. That whole thing there. I'm boring you, I know. When I told this story to the commander at Pizzo, still fucking hate his name. I hate him so much. He laughed at it. He does say he will wait until I succeed in developing subsequent energy, but in truth, El Pizzo believes defeating Neo Arcadia is the only way to regain peace. This is sort of a conflict in this game. Ciel believes that science is the way to end the war. El Pizzo believes that killing everybody in Neo Arcadia is the way to win the war. He believes in marching a huge army of people in there and just shooting up the place is what's going to save the world, whereas Ciel believes that if she can just find a way to generate energy without having to worry about the current energy shortage that'll suddenly prevent New Arcadia from having to retire more Reploids. That's the whole idea there. I have to finish this. I'll bring order to the world, not with destruction, but by the power of science. My research is almost done. I still need a little more information, though. Anyway, I'm going to manage your data for you if you need me. Come and talk to me anytime, okay? Save data now. Yes, CL is a walking save point. Save location. I'm going to overwrite my little test save right there that I used to practice the first level. It obviously paid off because I'm starting off at the highest possible rank. I don't believe she says anything else. Please tell me what you want to do. Okay, let's ask about her. Just in case you forgot, the Cyber Elf is a type of program which was created to support us. Usually you can use it after you download it, however some of them can't be used unless they are bred. Also, although we created them with our most cutting edge technology, the Cyber Elf cannot be resurrected, so please use yeah. Look at this Cyber Elf, isn't it amazing? It keeps emitting high tension energy from such a small body. The Cyber Elf is a present from Commander El Piso. This Cyber Elf is extremely central to her research. This is sort of the basis for the technology she's researching. Fuck, I don't know what the hell was going on there. For those of you that happen to be fans of the games that happen after this chronologically, you may recognize her energy source once we actually get into the specifics of what it is and how it works. He brought it from New Arcadia where he used to work. I'm conducting tests on this elf in order to understand its mechanism. I know this is the key to develop a safe, clean energy. I'll do it, Zero. So now we know that this elf was a present from El Piso, as he stole it from New Arcadia in a place where he used to work, and he gave it to CL, who's now using it as the backbone of her research project. Next door we have Servo here. No longer is he tucked away in the bottom floor somewhere. How are you doing, Zero? Honestly, how can you wear out your weapons like that? As you may recall, I didn't have access to the triple rod or the shield boomerang at the start, and my weapons were at default levels, so obviously I wrecked the shit out of my weapons between the games. But don't worry, I fixed them. I even created a new weapon called the Chain Rod for you. It is an outstanding weapon. Want instructions? Nah. Huh? You don't want to know? It's the invention of the century. Okay, I'll get back to my research. Use it wisely. I don't need instructions because I already know what the hell it does. This is the Chain Rod. It's this game's equivalent of the Triple Rod. It's built from pieces of it, if I'm not mistaken. It allows you to grab objects and drag them around, like that, which is very useful. It can also be used to swing from ceilings and stuff like that. As you may be able to figure out, this being a Megaman game and all, this is all going to become useful later. There's going to be some jumps where we're going to have to jump up in the air, or even dash jump and grab onto the ceiling and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of tricky platforming. Speaking of which, this game does a much better job of doing a platforming thing as opposed to the first game, which really half-assed platforming, and there was barely any platforming for that matter. But this game actually kind of goes somewhere. Still very limited by the technology and the screen size, but, well, you know, it's a step in the right direction. So that's the Operation Righteous Strike. We are going to take advantage of the absence of X and thrust our forces upon New Arcadia. Victory is in your hands, for a better tomorrow for all, Reploids. For our future. Yes, El Piso happens to be a Reploid, whereas CL happens to be a human. New Arcadia is primarily run by humans, or mostly human creatures. It gets a little bit complicated later on when they start getting into specifics, but that'll have to wait. For the most part, New Arcadia is human. The Resistance is primarily Reploids. There you go. Obviously, there's some issues there with Reploids being a little bit pissed off at humans, and humans being a little bit pissed off at Reploids. Why, it's you, Zero. We are now preparing for an operation. Unlike the past minor scale ones, this operation will inflict a crushing blow on them. Once it succeeds, it will boost the morale of the resistance. Your Arcadia is not a sitting duck. We should not carry out a frontal assault. We should gain time with guerrilla operations and wait for Ciel to complete her research. Essentially, El Piso is launching a military strike against the place, like full-on bomb the shit out of them, whereas Zero is advocating the stuff he did in the first game, which is just to sort of cause a lot of problems for them and buy a lot of time for the resistance. Obviously, they don't see eye to eye, and Zero is obviously a huge supporter of Ciel's ideas, even though she's no longer the commander. Thank you for the advice. We are going to continue our guerrilla activities. We have gained strength, and we are ready to work it out by ourselves. Silence. I'm sorry, I was too harsh. Needless to say, we still appreciate your cooperation. Will you help? Well, this is one of those things where you can't say no. Thank you. Now here's the current missions I'd like to ask of you. Look at the monitor. You can see them. Can you see them? They may not be enough of a challenge for a legendary hero, but it would be very appreciated if you help us. This is the selection screen for missions this time around. As you can see, the bosses aren't hidden from you. You know exactly what you're getting into before you even set foot in place, and the levels are not very heavily recycled this time around. Now I'm going to explore the base a little bit. You are the one who was brought here. Oh, you look completely recovered. I'm Ross and Old. I look after injured Reploids. When the injury is serious, Servo will take care of them. Yes, this is Rosanelle. She is pretty much the doctor of the resistance, and she's not going to be seen a whole lot. Sorry, but it's true. If you want to go to the area that you have already cleared, please use the transserver. It's located in the center of the commander room. It can transfer you to other areas. In order to use the transserver, stand in the middle of it and speak to the operator. Yes, we can speak to the operators and get information. Another familiar face. Zero, I really wanted to see you. I asked you to stay with us. You lied to me. But I'll forgive you because you came back. Oh, Alouette. Your ridiculous cuteness. This resistance base, obviously located in the mountains, much different from the previous one. There's a room here. It's completely empty. I'll avoid speaking to Alouette too much. I'll probably post some conversation later. Andrew. Andrew, old buddy. You're new here. Welcome to our base, son. My name's Andrew. If you have time, come to my place. I'll tell you an interesting story. Oh god, it's not the one about you being a sailor again, is it? Yes, Andrew is back, and he's as long-winded as ever. But it's good, though, because Andrew is still fairly awesome, and quite fun to be around. And we have a bunch of empty rooms. These will start to get filled up with people eventually, but for now, again, still very empty, much like the Resistance base was at the start of the first game. Although it did eventually become a lot more lively as things moved on. Oh, right. And we have one other weapon. It's the returning shield boomerang. Yes, it's back again, and it's no more useful this time around. So don't expect to see it. Especially since I'm playing on normal mode, which pretty much eliminates any real need for it. Oh, Zero, you are safe. I don't know who the hell you are. I don't care. Dashing, dashing, dashing. Room. And this is another hallway with a bunch of rooms. Not going to go into each one. They all look pretty much the same, and they're all empty, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe there's anything in there. And that's the Resistance base. Yeah, not a whole lot there. But, yeah. And here we have the operator. This will allow us to go back to the place where the game started. These are the two chicks that are operating the server for El Piso. Fucking hate El Piso's name, I swear to god. I'm going to avoid speaking it whenever possible because it just enrages me. But yeah, that's the Resistance base. Don't expect to see this thing again, except in screenshots, because, well, it's just not worth my time to really do that. And don't expect to see a lot of cutscenes, because I'm probably going to start relying on screenshots from here on out, unless special cases arise. Anyway, that's this video done. Stay tuned later for an actual level where I actually do something worthwhile. Fuck you all and good night.